Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for book chat. It's the end of the year, so I'm pretty sure you guys know what this book chat's gonna be. Everyone's doing it right now. It's kind of just a given. It's time for the best reads of 2012. I'm gonna do my top 12, but you can do however many you want to do. Top 15, top 5, top 3, whatever. They're your books and your opinions. If you've already done one, you can still link it up too. And yes, I know 2012 isn't technically over yet. We've still got 2 weeks, but the chances of something coming along and blowing everything else out of the water in that 2 weeks, I'll keep my fingers crossed, but it's doubtful. So, in no particular order, here are my top 12-ish of 2012. Vessel by Sarah Beth Durst. This was just a stunner. It was a knockout. I loved it all the way through. Liana, the main character, is one of my favorite characters in a good long while, not just of this year. And the world building is absolutely stellar. It's so unique and unlike everything else out there. Serafina by Rachel Hartman. Fortunately, this one completely lives up to the hype. It's so very good, so full and rich, and the world feels complete, the world is unique. The characters are really root-forable. It's something that I think will appeal to a lot of different people and across different age groups, which is great. It's just a really strong book, really compelling. Titan Magic by Jody Lamb. I was so completely just in love with this book. It's so very rich and so layered, and Maddie, the main character, is awesome. I love a good non-traditional main character, and she was superb. It was such an excellent use of folklore. It's just really, really killer fantasy. If you haven't already looked into this one, do so. The Fairyland series by Kathryn and Valente, the girl who circumnavigated Fairyland in a ship of her own making, and the girl who fell beneath Fairyland and led the revels there. They're very sort of whimsical and light on the surface, but there's actually a lot going on, a lot of great allusions to other things, and just really solid world building. It's very, very fun, very engaging. The Immortal Beloved series by Kate Tiernan, which includes Immortal Beloved, which is at a friend's house right now, and Darkness Falls and Eternally Yours. I didn't necessarily have high hopes. I thought it was going to be fun. I thought it was going to be engaging. But you know, just kind of throw away whatever. Oh my god, it took over my brain. I adore Nastasia. I was so very leery, and there were so many places that it could have gone completely off the rails, and it didn't. And I said in my review of the first book that I'm pretty sure Kate Tiernan must be a witch. She's got to be a sorcerer or something, because there's no way that you can have all of these potential cliches and potential places for the story to just fall flat and make them work rather than be annoying and make me like those things that I normally hate. There is something witchy in that. Great if you're looking for a series to get into. Highly addictive. Really good. Girl of Nightmares by Kendar Blake. This is the second book of the Anna Dressed in Blood duology. It's different from the first book in a lot of ways, but it still has the same layering and the same like depth of character, and of course some great chills too. But the fact is, it's just great writing. I mean, she's just created this world and she's created these characters and kept them true to themselves and authentic, and just sort of layered them with great writing. Shadows on the Moon by Zoe Mariette. I read this earlier this year for Fairy Tale Fortnight and was really looking forward to it. I've talked about this one before in my favorite fairy tale retellings video. It's really just strong storytelling on top of the fairy tale. It adapts the fairy tale really well, but even beyond that, it's just really great storytelling and world building. It's a great revenge story, and I love revenge stories, and just a great fairy tale retelling. The Zeta the Space Girl books by Ben Hotkey. These are graphic novels. This was actually the first thing I read of this year, I believe, like right at midnight I picked it up, and it was an excellent way to start off my year. It was so engaging, so fun. I have been pushing these books on friends for a while now. They're just really good, really fun, something that I think will appeal to a lot of different age groups. Just really, really engaging. Because It Is My Blood by Gabrielle Zevin. This is the second in the Birthright series. I really fell in love with all these things I've done last year and was eager for this one. There's maturity in the story and in Anya and the way she handles things, and I loved seeing that. I loved watching her sort of come to terms with things and who she is and who she's going to be, and sort of stop running from her past and her family. And I really, really liked seeing that. I also loved the sort of detour that the book took to Mexico, and the new characters that were introduced as a result of that. Teo is one of my favorite people ever in anything I've read this year. Just fantastic. I love him. I want to carry him around in my pocket. The Fever series by Kathryn Monning. If you follow me on Twitter, you've heard me talk about these a bit. Or if you watched my November Rewind and December TBRs, you'll know that this series has kind of taken over my brain. I read all of them this year, the last 3 of them actually within the past couple weeks, and I'm just, I'm still at a loss for words, clearly. I still think that Kathryn Monning is evil. I think that she, puts notches in a belt every time someone wants to pull their hair out when they read the series. She's a mean, cruel woman. This series is so good. There are things that I have serious issues with about this series, things that I really, really don't want to like and that put me off, but none of it has kept me from absolutely loving this series and being fully addicted. She's taken over my brain. Hey there, here's me looking different, like I just rolled out of bed, because I did! Last night as I was editing this, I realized that the part where I talk about Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor somehow didn't make it in, which is a travesty because it's high on the list of my top 12 this year. I put Daughter of Smoke and Bone on my list last year, and I actually liked Days of Blood and Starlight better. I think that will also appeal to people who weren't in love with the first book, especially the romance aspect, and it's much more about war and about genocide this time. It's a lot darker, and about Karou confronting, who she was, and this collision of her two worlds. So I think it adds a lot of layers without resting on the laurels of the romance. So well worth it. Less lyrical than the first book, but more powerful, and I loved it. Definitely on the top 12. So for my 12th pick, I was really torn because there are a lot more books I want to talk to you about, but I decided to go with The Duff by Kody Keplinger. I was kind of surprised by this choice myself, actually. Started it and was really on the fence because I just did not like the main character, but in a really interesting way. I didn't like her because she made me kind of uncomfortable, and she reminded me of myself and the worst parts of myself as a teenager. But watching her grow and watching her not be afraid to be herself anymore was something really beautiful. The way everything comes together, even though parts of me want to be bothered by it, I can't. I just really liked the story. It felt very true, and finding out later that it was written by a 17-year-old just kind of blew my mind. And because of the way it sort of made me uncomfortable and got under my skin and kept me thinking about it, meant that it definitely earned a spot on my top 12. So there's a whole slew of books that really deserve honorable mentions and definitely deserve to be read. So other books that I suggest you pick up that I really enjoyed this year, and this is just the best of a really long list. So basically what I'm saying is, a lot of good books. Something for everybody. All of the books are linked below, so you can look into them. You can link up both vlog and blog posts at the linky on thebookrat.com so that everyone can find them, check out your favorites of this year, and find some really good books to read. But that is all from me for now. As always, happy reading!